have a specific topic. I just wanted to, I don't know, make a quick video to kind of debrief about some of the things that, I learned today. So, first off, started by going to jitsu and got my ass kicked a couple times, so that was awesome. I love starting the day. Let me put it this way. I don't love starting the day with a fight. That's not what it is. It is overcoming. It's winning a fight. It's surviving. It's the concept of, I was literally in a fight for my life. Now I'm with a training partner, so when you train jiu-jitsu, your partner that you train with, you gotta trust them, to not hurt you. But in general, when you're sparring with someone, you're play fighting. There's really nothing nice about it. If you don't apply the correct technique to defend these moves, then your joints will get locked up pretty quick, and then you'll have to tap, so on and so forth. So it's really awesome to start the day saving your own life. That's cool. Just the mindset. And man, I left there with just the bounciest, most like, all right, I'm ready to go. And that's the way I feel almost every time, especially in the morning going to jiu-jitsu. Before I switched gyms and I was at another gym, I would go in the evening, and it's a fantastic gym. If you're in South County, Absolute Martial Arts is a fantastic gym. That was my home gym for a while. It just got to the point where the schedule of their evening classes wasn't working for me, so I decided to go to Gracie Baja in West County in Baldwin on Manchester. Freaking awesome gym, and they have 6 a.m. classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's the best thing ever. Anyway, then after leaving the gym, go to work, and the staff is running our new Red Dot course today. So it was us 3 full-time trainers, and then we had our match director down there, Jason Brown, and then one of our employees, Andrew. So me, Phil, Vinny, Andrew, and Jason, all good shooters, and we got to really fine-tune some stuff, and it was so awesome to nerd out with everybody and just really dig into the details, because the details are so important. Everybody always wants to do the tactical tumbling and the, moving and shooting and one-handed shooting and room clearing and all this stuff, and all advanced techniques when it comes to shooting your gun goes back to the fundamentals. And if you can dive into a fundamental like your grip or your trigger control or your aiming, we're doing red dot stuff, so the concept of not staying zoned in on your dot and looking at the target, I could go on for days on the little specifics, but my point is the ability to dive into these details, to get them to a point where they are so detailed. For one, it helps you understand the concept so much more deeply, to problem solve issues, to self-diagnose, and just be a better shooter. But the amount of efficiency and the amount of ease that comes from fine-tuning these fundamentals, and it is awesome. And it's so rewarding that you can be at a place like this to fine-tune fundamentals. Now, some of these things, when you're talking about shaving tenths of a second or a quarter of an inch of precision, of accuracy, you're like, come on, Liz, is that really necessary? But after taking Jedi's class, he goes into having an abundance of skill. And, you can look at some of these deep dives into fundamentals and tell yourself, like, I will never need something like that. You're right. You probably won't. But to have an abundance of skill, to be able to accommodate whatever comes your way, the confidence from that, and just knowing that you have abilities to overcome whatever comes your way, that's huge. So having an abundance of skill is important. And while you might not think you will ever need to get a gun out on target, draw the first shot in under a second, well, first off, I hope you're right. I hope that you never encounter a situation where you have to get your gun out and get a draw the first shot in under a second. But what if you did? What if you had to protect somebody that was... So we talk about this a presentation technique, whether we're dropping the dot, our muzzle down from the 12 o'clock or bringing it up from the 6 o'clock. And we learned this concept in Jedi's class, Scott Judlinski, Modern Samurai Project, if you're not familiar. And he's very big on driving the gun out, tightening pinkies to drop the dot in from the 12 o'clock every time. Very, very consistent, and it's repeatable. And then he, to my knowledge, has been recently incorporating what we call escalator, what he calls the escalator technique, as you're coming up from the 6 o'clock. And well, why do you need to know both? Especially as an instructor, we need to know both to be able to teach both. But as a student, why would you need to know both? Why couldn't you just find one that works for you and repeat it until you're freaking awesome at it and be done? What if the problem calls for a 6 o'clock presentation? What if the problem calls for a 12 o'clock presentation? What if you got so good at the 6 o'clock and you're like, all right, that's my jam. I can get a draw to first shot every single time under a second with that 6 o'clock presentation. But what if there's someone holding your child hostage across their chest? Are you going to muzzle your child as you do that 6 o'clock presentation? So, things to think about. Your muzzle discipline is important. And what if you were flagging yourself? What if you need to draw in tight quarters or something like that? Where your muzzle is pointed is important. So we don't often think about that because we're shooting at paper on a static range or whatever, but dynamic encounters change a lot. So to be able to operate your gun with that abundance of skill in whatever situation you find yourself in, that's true ability right there. That's true skill, and that's true confidence. One of my most favorite ways of training with my gun is unconventional shooting positions and weak hand operation, because it really gets you to operate your gun as if it's an extension of you. First off, just the different positions that you could find yourself in, like if you have to squat down and bend over and do all this, abnormal shooting, like how does the gun recoil? What are your sights or your dot? What does that look like? Can you still see your dot because of the parallax and, looking at it at a weird angle and just seeing all the complexities to using your gun in a way that's not what you would typically train with, or offhand manipulations. Maybe I do not have, maybe my dominant hand got injured and all I have is my support hand. How do I rack my slide? How do I clear malfunctions? How do I reload my gun? How do I operate the dang thing? So I think that that type of training has really connected me with my gun and made it more, I'm way more confident handling my gun. So get an abundance of skill, because it's freaking important, and the confidence you get from that is outstanding. So overall, a fantastic day of training. We got tons of pictures and videos and stuff. I'm going to upload one here in a little bit of a slow-mo video of me doing my draw that I found really fascinating. So stay tuned for that, and come take our red dot class.